Now on Up with KREM, the Canadian border is officially back open to Americans, but to get across, there are some requirements you must meet.
The coronavirus vaccine could be fully approved by the FDA this month. This morning, what this could mean for vaccine requirements across the country.
And of course, we're going to take you outside as our foggy morning continues. We've got temperatures on the rise and blue skies in the forecast.
Up with KREM begins now.
It's official. After 17 months of being closed due to the pandemic, the Canadian border is now open for Americans.
Now that means families and friends can make their way across if they're vaccinated. This morning, we'll tell you more about what you need to know, though, before making the big trip.
But first, we do want to say good morning and welcome to Up with KREM. Happy Monday.
Yes, happy Monday.
I'm Tim Pham.
And I'm Channing Curtis. Thanks for starting your work week with us. Let's go ahead and take a look outside with our meteorologist, Jeremy Lagoon. Now, we had a little bit of a break from the heat, but I hear it's making a big comeback for this week.
Yes. I was hoping we could hang on.
I know.
Sorry. Well, for now, we'll just call it a TGIM, right?
There we go.
Everybody says that. Everybody says it. Everybody says it. Everyone at home is saying nobody says TGIM. Everybody says it. We're making it a thing. That's what we believe here on Up with KREM. And this morning, temperatures are hanging out on the TGIM side. 51 degrees with a little bit of patchy fog early today. And as we take you out the door, just know that that fog isn't going to last all day. It will. Technically, it doesn't burn off, but it'll burn off. It'll move its way out. But early this morning, thanks to our moisture we saw yesterday, that's right, some of those showers that moved through, we have some of that fog. And if you're just joining us, a couple of numbers for you. At Spokane International Airport, our official record-keeping station, we picked up 5/100ths of an inch of rain. It's not much. But in Deer Park, how about 63/100ths? That's more than 6/10 of an inch of rain, and that's the most rain we've seen in one location in quite some time. So that's a bit of good news there. Moderate air quality now. We are at 58 on the AQI, so with these cooler temperatures and moderate or good air quality across much of the inland northwest, open the windows, let in some of this cool air. Today is going to be a fantastic kind of day. Nothing but sunshine in the forecast once we burn off some of this fog, and temperatures topping out near 80. Now, if I got to choose weather, this is what I would choose. But since I don't get to choose weather, and since I don't have any control over what's going on, I need to warn you of something. By the time we get closer to the weekend, temperatures are once again going to be near 100 degrees. And for that reason, we have an excessive heat watch in place for much of the state of Washington and into parts of North Idaho. It is going to be, as Tim and I say, or well, now everybody's saying it, just like TGIM, hot. It's going to be hot.
HAWT, right? Hot. They're all making fun of you in the newsroom. All right, well, the Canadian border is back open to non-essential traffic after about 17 months of being closed.
Now, this means that American citizens can now cross into Canada, but Canadians will have to wait until August 21st to come here into the U.S. The U.S. Travel Association estimates that each month the border is closed costs $1.5 billion. Canadian officials say the country had 22 million foreign visitors in 2019. 15 million of those were from the U.S.
Our sister station spoke with a family from Victoria who lined up early to cross into Canada.
We were just in Victoria, separated from all of our family and most of our friends for a year and a half. So we finally felt like we needed to cross so we could reunite with them, and our moms are not in good health, and yeah, it was time to go.
Well, the Canadian border is set to open to American citizens and permanent residents. However, the border not open to everyone as some COVID-19 restrictions remain in place.
This morning, Nicole Hernandez joins us live from the newsroom to answer some common questions about the border reopening. Good morning, Nicole.
Yeah, good morning, guys. So one of the biggest questions right now that we're getting about the opening is exactly who can cross the border. So the border is open to American citizens and permanent residents living here in the United States, but they have to be vaccinated at least 2 weeks before entering. Travelers have to bring their COVID-19 vaccination card or at least a photo of it. They also have to submit it ahead of time through the ArriveCAN app or the ArriveCAN web portal. The second question is, when will the Canadian border reopen to everyone who has been vaccinated? vaccinated. Well, the Canadian government plans to reopen Canada's borders to the rest of the world on September 7th. That date can change, though. Third, will I have to quarantine once I get there? Fully vaccinated travelers who meet specific criteria do not have to quarantine when they get into Canada, but they will have to show a quarantine plan and be ready to isolate if they are ordered to. Fourth, will I need a negative COVID test? Yes, people traveling across the border will need a negative COVID-19 test. You'll have to take that test within 72 hours of crossing the border. And once you get through to Canada, though, fully vaccinated travelers will not need a test again. And then the final question we have is, when will the U.S. open its borders to Canadians? Border restrictions for non-essential travel into the States from Canada will continue through at least August 21st. Right now, only essential travel is allowed. U.S. citizens and lawful permanent residents, though, returning to the country are allowed back into the country. And of course, as you make these travel plans, you still will need other necessary documents to travel into Canada, like your passport or your Nexus card. In the newsroom, I'm Nicole Hernandez.
7:05, it's time for your morning rush. More news in less time.
A missing backpacker has been found alive. 56-year-old Sherry Keller was reported missing on August 5th in Olympic National Park. Around 11 a.m. on Sunday, a King County Sheriff's Office helicopter spotted her east of Mount Steele. Keller was taken to the Mason County Hospital and is said to be doing fine.
The U.S. is now averaging more than 100,000 new COVID-19 cases a day. The new spike in cases is due to the Delta variant spreading through unvaccinated populations. Health officials say they are fearful cases will continue to soar if more Americans do not get the COVID vaccine. More than 50% of adults in America are vaccinated.
Dr. Anthony Fauci says he is hopeful the FDA will give full approval to the COVID-19 vaccine. Now, currently, the FDA has only granted emergency use approval of the vaccine, but they are expected to give full approval to the Pfizer one soon. The Biden administration says they will not mandate vaccinations beyond the federal workforce. However, they are urging state and local governments to consider it. Well, starting today, Amazon will be requiring all 900,000 United States warehouse workers to wear masks indoors, regardless of their vaccination status. This move follows the steps of Walmart and Target and worker mask mandates. They have not implemented employee vaccination requirements, though, at this time.
A 41-year-old cold case victim in Washington state has been identified. In June of 1980, boaters found the body of 24-year-old Stephen Lee Knox from Wisconsin in the Snohomish River. He was initially dubbed a John Doe by investigators, but new technology identified Knox's DNA and led them to his siblings in Wisconsin. Investigators say this technology gives them more hope for 5 other cold cases in the medical examiner's office. And that's your morning rush. More news in less time. Let us know what's happening in your neighborhood by using the hashtag #UpWithKREM on social media. Well, a theater group in Seattle is making more than a ticket mandatory for entry, and we want to hear from you this morning. Should private venues make a decision about vaccines? You can vote right now in our Twitter poll or text us at 509-448-2000.
And we have an excessive heat watch in place as temperatures are set to soar through the second half of the week. We're talking temps on the rise as we once again approach 100. And if that happens, some pretty significant things take place. If we hit 100 again, it's the most we've ever seen in a year. If we hit 93 more times, which will easily happen, we've seen the most 90-degree days in a year. And this comes after we recorded the warmest month we have ever seen in Spokane. The forecast is a hot one, and coming up, I'm going to let you know just why we're up near 100 as the weekend nears.